session. So now I request Mr. Sriram to start off his conversation with Sangeetha.
Sangeetha, first of all, I must tell you that this is one of the most enjoyable books that I have read in recent times. Uh, I, uh, for various reasons, I kept putting it off till last week. And once I started reading it, I couldn't put it down at all. And I managed to finish it in 3 days, partly because I also come from a family with a lot of railway connections. And on one side, there was exceedingly senior railway connections. The other side, there was the underbelly of the railway. And this side did not speak to that side at all. The upper side considered the lower side to be lowly in the pecking order. But it was the lower side that filled me with stories about the railways, which is what I really found fascinating in your book. But before we go on to that, you begin the book by saying that you had this ambition about how you always wanted to lead a life surrounded by books. So can you just take us down this journey of what you read? As you, of course, she mentioned Amar Chitra Katha, Enid Blyton. That is a line that, as both of us were talking, we've all done it. But what exactly was your journey into books? What languages did you read? Because I can speak multiple languages. So what were the books that you read? Could you just take us through that?
Actually, my mom, she was the one who inculcated the reading habit in me. Like, we are a middle class family where we couldn't afford to buy books. So every summer vacation, mom, what she used to do is we used to have affluent relatives. So every holidays, தொடங்கின உடனே அப்பாவும் நானும் we'll go to their house. We used to take a bus from Tambaram to, I don't remember where they were staying. தாம்பரத்துலேருந்து அங்கே பஸ் பிடிச்சி போய் அவங்க பொண்ணுக்கிட்ட இருந்து I used to just pick some 10 books which I liked. And வீட்டுக்கு வந்த உடனே I immediately put a newspaper cover or a brown sheet cover because I was very careful that the books should be returned in a very pristine condition. So அது முடிச்சிட்டு and I used to take those books to summer vacations. Kerala போய் I used to read all those books, and then as soon as I come back, dad and I would go and return the books. And this happened for a couple of summer vacations. Only summer vacations I could read books. My school had a very small library with very few books, but I was the only person who was always in the library. Like, actually those books which I read was all borrowed from her. So she was reading Enid Blyton. I started reading Enid Blyton. Mallory Towers was my favorite books. Enid Blyton, then slowly...
Daryl Rivers, Felicity.
Yeah.
Can we ever forget them? We grew up with all of them.
Yeah. I didn't like St. Clair's as much as I liked Mallory Towers. So after Mallory Towers, slowly Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, then we moved on to Earl Stanley Gardner and Agatha Christie. And then I can actually say my first adult book was Cain and Abel by Jeffrey Archer. So I grew up reading a lot of Jeffrey Archer. And I can tell you, like, when his Best Kept Secrets had come, அவர் நம்ம லேண்ட்மார்க்கில் வந்திருந்தாரு. So I went and got my first autographed copy was from Jeffrey Archer. So I was so excited. So அப்பத்துலேருந்தே I've always loved books. So once I started, like I mentioned in the book as well, no, like ஒரு தடவை எங்கள் அக்கா வீட்டுக்கார் வந்துட்டு டிக்கெட் போடுறதுக்காக பைசா கொடுத்துருந்தாரு. டிக்கெட் போடாமல் I went and saw Gone with the Wind in the bookstore, எக்மோரில் ஹிகின்பாத்தம்ஸ் தள்ளுவண்டியில் பார்த்த உடனே I just didn't mind. 160 rupees கொடுத்துட்டு வாங்கிட்டு வந்தேன். That was my first expensive purchase. So still it's there.
A stolen book is always more enjoyable than a...
No, next day I had to borrow money from my mom and book his tickets. So that's how I've always been, I don't know, I hoard books. அம்மா திட்டிகிட்டே இருக்கா, இது யாருக்காவது கொடு நான் சொன்னேன், இதுக்காக ஒரு வீடு வாங்கிட்டு I want to keep all my books. So it's like that.
I agree entirely with you. I never give my books to anybody.
No, actually I did give away some of the books. When I was shifting from Bangalore, I thought யாராவது படிக்கட்டுமேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு நல்ல மனசு வந்தது அப்போ. So I gave some books to people as well. And now in Dubai you can see my house is full of books, and I love to surround myself with books. That's why now I wanted to become a librarian. But then I realized not all librarians are reading books. Books இருக்கு. Not everybody can get time to read books.
So what kind of books do you read now?
Now actually I was into all only mystery thrillers. ஒரு காலத்துல once I started writing, I just stopped reading mystery thrillers. But even now ஒரு 2-3 literary fiction படிச்சிட்டேன்னா I want to go to a ஃபாஸ்ட் பேஸ்டு கில்லர் யாரையாவது கொலை பண்ணிட்டு முடிக்கணும்னு ஒரு சமாதானம், அப்போ தான் ஒரு சந்தோஷம் கிடைக்கும். ஸோ இப்போ லாஸ்ட்டாக nowadays after writing my memoir I've started reading a lot of memoirs. Recently I was just telling my mom, and I have this habit of telling everything to my mom. ஒரு நாளைக்கு I talk to her some 300 phone calls or something, I think. So everything, whatever I read, I tell her. So just last week I just completed a book called Your Table is Ready, a memoir by Michael Cecchini. Oh my God, it was so wonderful. It was about the maitre d' hotel, avaroda kada of New York hotel. So nowadays I'm into memoirs. And இந்த புக்கர் ப்ரைஸ் புக்ஸ் எல்லாம் கூட பிடிக்கும் எனக்கு, அதெல்லாம் உட்காந்து படிப்பேன். ஆனால் once in a way I want to read some fast-paced murder mystery.
Pulp book.
Yeah.
But when you wrote your book, did you find that there was an influence from any author which kept coming back into your style as you wrote?
No, actually the thing was, because I hadn't read any memoirs until I wrote my own memoir, I was not, I didn't know what a memoir looked like. When I started my blogs, actually, after that, on the first article on the train, எங்கள் அப்பாவை பற்றி எழுதின உடனே, my cousin Ambli, she's somewhere here, she's come from Bangalore, she was the one who said, yeah, I can see her hand. So she was the one who said, Sangu, you write so well, I will start a blog for you. So blog ஒன்று, today's கதான்னு ஒரு blog ஒன்று create பண்ணிட்டு, அதுக்கப்புறம் I was regularly posting. Because I started writing about my intimate feelings, I was very comfortable writing about anything, whatever comes to my mind. So blog எழுதிட்டே இருந்தேன். Once I started writing short fiction, no, I was finding it so difficult to fictionalize things. எல்லாத்தையும் fictionalize பண்ணுறது கஷ்டமாக இருந்தது. So writing non-fiction is much easier. You can write whatever you want, and you got to be truthful. Only if you're okay to bear out your own heart to the whole world to read, you can write non-fiction. So I was very comfortable telling it to people, and I'm very talkative person. I can talk to people, I can talk.
We didn't realize that at all. Surprising. You haven't given us a hint about it so far.
So I even இப்போ யாராவது ட்ரெயினில் பார்த்தா கூட, ஃப்ளைட்டில் பார்த்தா கூட, இங்கேருந்து நாங்கள் 4 மணி நேரம் ஜேர்னியில் I would have become என்னமோ long lost siblings மாதிரி கதையெல்லாம் பேசி I would become friends. So yeah, so I don't know what I was started, where I'm going. Yeah.
No. So you said you were reading a lot of. Now you're
Yeah,
looking
now
into
I'm
biographical
yeah,
accounts.
yeah,
and
because
things
I'm,
like that.
I'm that's what I'm working on, a biography as well. No? So I'm now reading into all those. Here, the next book I'm writing is about a war veteran, of a 1971 war veteran. So adukkaga I want to read some of the war books, because I don't want to write what has already been written. What I'm going to write is in my own style, but I can't use this frivolous style in that, because this is my life. Avaroda life ku konja I have to give the respect. So adanal I just want to read those books which will not, so that I need not repeat the whole thing in my own words, basically.
This book is unique because to me, I mean, I cannot speak about everybody. Personally to me, it was an eye-opener about all the systems and procedures and the hard work that goes into keeping the Indian Railways functioning in the manner in which it does. So, I have an uncle who's now 91. He was a very, very senior man in the railways, and he used to always talk about, with great pride, about how among all the former British Empire countries in this part of the world, that is Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, he said that it is the Indian Railways that has really maintained its tradition of being on time, of running on time, and he said the rest of it is in a shambles in comparison to what has happened over here. And this is the book where you really understand what goes on a daily basis among thousands and thousands of employees who are working, and how does that system work. See, today when you work in an IT company where there are 1,000 people, you know that most of the time things don't work. But here you find that things work. Actually, it's just moving. The cogs, the train is arriving, tickets are being sold, you're doing something, your friend is doing something in the neighboring station. And I found lots of answers to many questions that I always had, but I never asked. So why don't we begin with that big tin box, steel trunk, which all drivers take with them when they go? What does it contain?
Yeah, actually, I've always been observant. No, like before joining railways also, I've always seen those boxes. Adukulla enna irukonu, I've always been very curious. So when I joined railways, when I got to meet all these guards and drivers, so I asked them what is inside that. So they told me, like, they have these. There's a guard who's sitting here actually. Avan nariya bookla, he's contributed to the book as much. So there's a.
Will you stand up, sir, for a minute, please? Thank you, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
So they have this tail lamp the last wagon you see this X, no? Even that is inside. Each guard will have their own X. So that is there, and they have this registers they maintain. A first aid kit is there, and in those days, when the detonators are there, flare lamp is there. So அந்த மாதிரி tin box, that's what I asked so many people, haven't you noticed that on a railway station? And they said no. இவங்கெல்லாம் என்ன
We've
பண்றாங்கன்னு தெரியல.
always, it'll be just next to the engine waiting, and we'd
So
wonder, why does he need such a big
Yeah.
thing to take his clothes in?
So actually now it was in the news that they're going to change it and make it into trolley bags, but railway people are fighting because
You've mentioned that.
trolley bags யாராவது சுட்டுட்டு போயிடுவாங்க வண்டியில இருந்து. So அதனால they have, but it's changed. Yeah.
Going back to a personal question from an impersonal one, what made you really want to join the railways? I mean, where did that story? Because in the book really doesn't say, it just begins with your writing that examination and then you're there. So what really made you want to join, or was it something where it just happened?
Culprit is there, my mom. So like I've said, no, like I've always wanted to read books and take up English literature. அம்மா சொன்னாங்க இங்கிலீஷ் லிட்ரேச்சர்ல படிச்ச ஒரு வேலையும் கிடைக்காது.
My father said the same thing. So you're in August company.
So she said, after, even if you do another degree or whatever, you'll have to write this RRB exams or SSB exams. So when we came to know about this full newspaper advertisement like this vocational course, railway commercial, 10+2, படிச்ச உடனே வேலை, my mom said, this is like a golden opportunity, why don't you do it? And the best thing was, அந்த ஸ்கூலில் படித்த 7 batches all over 9 zones, எல்லாருமே அவங்கவுங்க ஸ்கூலில் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரேங்க் ஹோல்டர்ஸ் தான் we got selected. இவன் ஸ்கூலில் இவன் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரேங்க், நான் எப்படா
இல்லை, ஏன்னா நான் அந்த மாதிரி ரேங்க் எல்லாம் வாங்கினதே கிடையாது.
இல்லை ஆக்சுவலி எங்கள் ஸ்கூலில் அந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 40ல இவன் தான் ரேங்க் ஹோல்டர் நம்பர் 1. ஆர்ஆர்பி எக்ஸாம் எழுதி பாஸ் ஆகி இன்டர்வியூ முடிச்சுட்டு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரேங்க் ஹோல்டர் வாஸ் வி வித்யாதர். இதுக்கு மேலே என்ன வேணும்? லேக்ஸில் நீ தான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு. அந்த மாதிரி ஐ டோன்ட் நோ, வி வர் ஆல் குவைட் இன்டெலிஜென்ட். அது எங்கள் அம்மாங்க அண்ட் ஆல் மை மதர் அண்ட் அந்த என் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸோட பேரண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாருமே ரொம்ப ரொம்ப ஃபீல் பண்ணாங்க, நல்லா படிக்கிற பசங்களை பிடிச்சிட்டு இதுக்குள்ளே விட்டுட்டோம். பிகாஸ் தோஸ் 2 years when we were waiting for the job to happen, everybody were so very sad. So, and even only after joining railways, I realized my grandfather was also in railways. அதுக்கப்புறம் அதுவரை எனக்கு தெரியவே தெரியாது.
Is it the senior man who doesn't say anything when you go and tell him?
Yeah, that's my grandfather, my father's father. எனக்கு அவர் ரயில்வேஸ்னா அதுவரை தெரியவே தெரியாது, அவர் பேசினதே இல்லை என்கிட்ட. So I never thought I wanted to join railways and all, because we were all middle class people. ஒரு government job, secure government job, we just lapped it up. So I wrote the exam.
But even without college, I mean, you think you were taking a big risk?
No, those days அப்போல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் கூட அப்பா அம்மா பேச்சு கேட்டு வளர்ந்த பசங்க இல்லையா. So we were ready to accept. அம்மா சொன்னாங்க, we wrote the exam.
If you ask many people about their jobs, particularly the era from which you and I come from, and you ask them about the jobs, or next year I'll be 60, so this is the average age in which a person in service would be retiring. So they'd always say things like edo pannino. But how did you maintain so much of interest in what you did that you were able to recall it with such detail and flair when you wrote it? Because a lot of it is drudgery. As on a daily basis, a lot of hard work and very difficult, very, very difficult circumstances working. So, stories about dogs accompanying you, dark railway compartments, goods carriages, early morning when there is nobody and only mother accompanying you all the way to the booking office and things like that. How did you even manage to keep that spirit of creativity alive, that you can look back on it positively and you write with such humor about that whole those episodes? Because every page there is a laugh. There is a tear behind the eye, there is also a laugh. So you keep waiting to see which is going to come next. It continuously happens in every page. So how did you manage that?
I think basically because I've inherited that goodness from my mom. Like my mom is a very observant person, very, very talkative and positive attitude. So basically that has always been my thing as well. When I was posted there, when I was working there in that station also, no, appo konja kashtamla irundhudu. But now looking back, no, I felt like the good things were more outweighed the bad experiences. So I always like to look at the positive side of things. And while I was writing this book also, no, I asked so many of my friends are all here, ellarkitu kenji kette, hey, please give me your experiences, give me your experiences. Some of them said, I don't remember anything, Sangeetha, I don't know. So I had to actually coax, chumma talk about something, you know, this thing happened in my station, what did happen in your station, appadi kettu nare per kitta vaangane. Some people were readily open with whatever their experiences were. Basically, I am a very observant person. I am a people's person. Like I was telling the other day to my husband, enkitta irukra ore skill, people skill. I can make friends. So on the people skill, that positivity has helped me to write. And school time le vandittu, and school matriculation school. So மக்கப் பண்ணி எக்ஸாம் எழுதுற பார்ட்டி.
டோன்ட் வரி, சிபிஎஸ்சிலயும் அதேதான்.
சிபிஎஸ்சில கொஞ்சமாவது யோசிச்சு சொல்லுவாங்க.
தெரியல
கொஞ்சம் மெட்ரிகுலேஷன் ஃபுல்லா மக்கப் பண்ண போதும். ஸோ நான் ஸ்கூல் படிக்கும்போது வந்துட்டு அந்த புக்கு இப்படி பார்த்துட்டே படிப்பேன். லைக் ஐ டோன்ட் லுக் அரவுண்ட். அந்த புக்கு பார்த்துட்டு படிக்கும்போது நான் எக்ஸாம் ஹாலில் போய் உட்காந்தேன்னா எனக்கு அந்த புக்கு கரெக்டாக அப்படியே கண்ணு முன்னாடி வந்து நிற்கும். அந்த புக்கில் நான் எதாவது கிறுக்கியெல்லாம் வச்சுருந்தேன்னா ஈவன் தட் வில் ஐ கேன் in the exam hall I can see that. So while I started writing this, no, it was like that, like a film was running in front of my eyes. I just had to look and just keep in the இவர சொல்லுவாங்கல அந்த லைக் ராமாயணம்
வால்மீகி
இவர
இல்ல பாரத வியாச
விநாயகர் என்ன எழுதினாரு, விநாயகர்
மகாபாரதம்.
சோ அந்த மாதிரி நான் பாட்டுக்கு உட்கார்ந்து எழுதினேன். Everything just organically, I didn't have to think much for writing.
It just flowed. I can see that because there is a very tight, structured, but at the same time there is a flow right through the
like
book.
a talk, no, without any stop.
It is the way you have also written. That is that's a very rare talent to have, because people become some other person when they sit down and write, and that destroys the charm of a book because you realize that this is something artificial that is happening. Whereas here you can make out that it's a very natural, you're just being yourself when you're writing the whole
there were
book.
some places where I am a big Sashi Tharoor fan, so nadula and
Did he look deep into your eyes?
No,
because when I met him with, I should tell you, when I met him with my wife, he just looked deep into her eyes and smiled and I got very nervous. And then I had to lead my wife away from him after some time. So.
No, I was actually telling that our part of the family, he was sitting and having his lunch, and there were so many of us surrounding him. He was happily eating, but each and everybody he was giving interest and concern. Yes, and there were so many women who came and fell all over him. I was so angry. Like
all women get angry when other women fall on Sachita.
No. No, it was not like that. That man was eating, and the ponnu vandittu, I don't want to tell who that girl was. She had a t-shirt la avaloda books oda photos potirundha, and he was just asking, ma'am, who are you, what did you do? Na or paattukku she said, sir, I've written a book. Ipdi dhaan pesittu irundha. Sir, na book எழுதியிருக்கிறேன் sir nacha. Appo sorry, என்னமா book எழுதுனா? பயங்கர இங்கிலீஷ் பேசினாரு. அப்போ கேட்டவரு,
what was the name of the lexicon that you have?
No, he was very normal. I'm a big fan, I will not accept it. So that female was just like, sir, this is my book. And I was actually, I was sitting and watching what he would do. He was very decent, he didn't look at all. Okay, our mogatha mattum dhaan paathu pesinaru.
I know. He looked deep into my wife's eyes. That I agree with you.
So in the book actually நடுல அந்த எனக்குள்ள இருக்கிற தரூர் அப்பப்ப வெளியில வந்து நான் கொஞ்சம் கடால் முடால் வேர்ட் எல்லாம் யூஸ் பண்ணேன். But my husband was very strict. He said, you are writing for the public to read. He just told me one line, உங்க அம்மாவால படிக்க முடியும் அந்த புக். அம்மா வந்துட்டு டிக்ஷனரியை போய் தேட வைக்காத நீ. So அம்மாவாலையும் படிக்க முடியும்னு சொல்லிட்டு he made it simple.
But talking about Tharoor, before we move on to your book again, his latest book, which is on languages, is fabulous.
Okay, I haven't read it.
I mean, it's one of the most readable books on the English language that you can really read. It's just fabulous. I've been reading that also in parallel. Very well written. So now we go back to your railway career. So, you know, I don't know how many of today's generation, that is children who came into the railway booking world after 1983. I don't know how many of them will really remember that era of those card tickets and with the, whatever was punched on it, some gobbledygook used to be punched on it, I remember.
Ticket, date.
அது ஏதோ இருக்கும் அப்புறம் அதில் வந்து you had to wrap it and keep it very carefully, you didn't lose it and all that. So can you just, you've written so much about it that it took me back to a different world of the era that was. Today, we just go online and we buy the ticket. We don't even take a printout. We just show, and then sometimes we talk, we just give the name, and with that it's all enough. So a little bit about that era.
Actually, the ticket...
How, just to, just to establish a bit of background. So you are in a station which you don't mention, but I know which station it is.
You guessed it right.
But because you give so many hints that it's very easily identifiable. So how did the ticket really arrive? So let's start with that.
Yeah, it comes in bundles and bundles from the ticket printing factory. And because it was a small station and I was the junior-most person, they made me sit and count bundles and bundles of tickets. So 250 tickets put over a bundle tied with a twine. So you have to just open it very carefully, count the numbers, ticket numbers, serial wise irkan paatittu and the twine ulla abdi ulla podnom. And it always goes off.
It happens whenever the station master calls you.
No, even otherwise it used to happen a lot. So and sometimes the tickets will be double printed numbers irukkom, sela missing numbers irukkom. So when you put on the tube, like in case you don't have time to count
you
all
keep
the tickets.
talking about this tube. What is that?
Those explain Manda.
Yeah, so I also had the privilege of working as a booking clerk for 6 years.
Mentioned it.
Yeah, so in the sense, it will be like what you call it will be like a shelf. You can take like a shelf. In the shelves, you will have small grooves. So you have a bundle of 250 tickets. You put it in that groove, and it will be like that you can take one ticket out. It will be like there will be cut like in the technique. You have to take a ticket, and there will be a punching machine in the sense. You punch it, it will have like date. So, for example, in suburban sections in Chennai and all, you can have the ticket will be valid for 1 hour. But in most places, the ticket will be valid for that one day. In the sense, like whatever time you take, it will be till midnight, you can use the ticket. So that was the system. You have to just punch the ticket. And she had already mentioned the things. And for correcting the ticket, she said, no, if the bundle is correct, we used to do, we'll just put one line on the tickets. In the sense, like bundle is perfect. In the sense, there is no mistake in the thing. We just put this thing. So I am also reminiscing my memories about booking clerk job.
Actually, the funny thing was those tubes were so tall and high, and I was so short. And the tube ticket போடுறதுக்குள்ளே, it's a big job for me. And half the time I put it, டேடா மேடா ho jayega. And அதை சரி பண்ணுறதுக்குள்ள அங்கே வெளியில் இருக்கிறவங்க கத்துவோம், என்ன பண்ணுற டிக்கெட் கொடுன்னு. Oh my God, it used to be so much of confusion. And actually, that's what, no, that adrenaline rush was good.
Spoilers alert, but that story of that 10 rupee note which was part 5 rupee and how it keeps coming back.
It keeps coming back, yes.
God, I couldn't believe that such a thing could have really happened, and how you circulated it yourself.
Actually, in Karnataka, no, you see the most soiled notes and everybody keeps taking it without showing the face. Chennai la
here they just slap it back on you.
Yeah, that's all. So that note was circulating a lot. 10, 5 plus
one
2.
particular currency note keeps coming back to plague her life. As long as she's
This is
in
actually a friend's
story.
anecdote. Yeah.
Okay. Why did you leave out the station names? Was it some railway requirement?
No. Because the people I mentioned are still working there. I don't want
so
to
you
compromise
protected their privacy.
I don't want to compromise their privacy.
Okay. I'm just coming to this question about what was the inspiration behind the title. But prior to that, I could not help smiling to myself, because I had one grandfather who was the first Indian to become a chief engineer in the railways. Before that, it was all British. So he had retired, and every time I would go with him to the railway station, have you bought a rail platform ticket? And then I'll say, Illa Tata, go and buy it. I don't want them to think that I was walking around without a platform ticket. So you'd go and buy. The other Tata was a railway doctor, assistant medical officer in Egmore. Before that, Bittergunta, all those places. Have you bought a railway platform ticket, child? No, Tata. Good. After all that we have done for this stupid organization, the least that we can do is walk around without dirty nonsense. So one Tata, you bought platform tickets, the other Tata, you never bought platform tickets. So I used to get very nervous. Tata, the ticket, I have operated on him for hydrocele, child. So all kinds of things. So we would. So platform ticket, and I was caught without platform ticket in Bangalore station because my son had to go to the loo. His train was, he and they were very young. And my wife and the two boys were leaving, and the last minute this boy wants to go to the loo. Sharda is telling me I will not take him to any toilet. So I go rushing, I go into the train station and see them off after having washed his bum and all that. And the first thing they come and tell me, where's your platform ticket? I paid a fine. So both tatas must have been smiling somewhere up there in the heavens. But the question is, what was your inspiration? Why platform ticket?
Yeah. I'm very bad in naming stories or even characters of my books. So when I was just started writing this, actually the main person who made me write this platform ticket book is a writer friend called Natasha Sharma. Because all these short stories, whatever I was writing, no, everything had one element of railways in it. Either the lovers used to meet in the platform ticket or something or the other happened in the railway station. So the railways is inside my head. So my friend told me, why don't you write about your railway story? So that's how I started writing this. Natasha couldn't be here, so I sorely miss her here. So when I started writing this, Per Vekamada Edane. So there's a friend of mine, Jyoti Ramakrishnan, who's unfortunately not here today with me. So she was the one, Jyoti, I'm writing this in the Mari, she said, Sangu, why don't you name it Platform Ticket? She suggested and I said, oh my God, lovely name. And platform ticket is like one ticket, which is, as far as I know, it's always in every railway station. Every railway station, tubula or a platform ticket. I mean, you are supposed to have a platform ticket. So I said, platform ticket is wonderful because I'm taking the readers through the different platforms of my life. So I just told my husband, how was his name? He said, perfect. And when I pitched it in the Bangalore Lit Fest also, everybody said, unga peru marandalo platform ticket naanga maraka matom. So I said, okay, that's
a great
such a catchy title.
I think it's a fabulous title for a fabulous book, shall I?
Thank you so
I
much.
just add that, yeah. The, for all of us, the Indian Railways, you criticize it, you say all kinds of things, but it holds a certain magic. Particularly, I think in today's era, I think there are many children who probably fly more often than they go by train. But I think we all belong to an era when we traveled by train. Long summer holidays, 3 days travel, things like that. What I found very thrilling was this book really brought back that magic of traveling by the railways, because you pass by so many railway stations in the night, in the evening when it is becoming dark, and then you wonder who is living over here. Why is that light burning in the station master's room? Why is he standing there with a green flag? So many things. And it reminded me very much of Biswanath Ghosh's book Chai Chai,
Oh my God, yeah.
which
He's
is
a big
all
fan,
about
big fan.
railway junctions all over the country, stations that you never get off but you pass by. So it brought about a lot of...
He was supposed to be here, but then I know him really well.
He's a very close friend of mine as well.
Really?
He lives in
Okay.
Calcutta
In fact,
now.
he told me, like, please convey my regards to Sriram, and I told him that you are the chief guest.
Okay. I'm coming towards the end of the questions.
Yes, otherwise my aunt will...
She's already rolling her eyes from there. She's worse than the Hindu Lit Fest. They put up cards in front of you like this. She's rolling her eyes from there. Now the question is, when you wrote this book, were there any incidents that you consciously left out of it which you felt were very good but you couldn't put it in for any reasons?
No, I don't think I've left out anything because Penguin was such a fabulous publisher. They just accepted it. Like, in fact, that COVID time details, the last 500 words, after the first one proof was done, and then I added that. I told my editor Deepthi Talwar, I told her, I've just added these 500 words. If you don't want, you can delete it. She said, no, it's okay. So I'm very thankful to Penguin, who just accepted whatever I was writing. So there's nothing left out. I think I've told more and more about me. Like, some of my closest friends who have read this book are telling, oh, now I know more about you, what you like, everything about you. So yes, I haven't left out anything. I left out one thing to say, like, I've had a fabulous family and a fabulous set of friends. My mama, who's sitting here, I wanted to talk about him in my the welcome speech. I forgot. In the
You can do it now.
Yeah, in the mama inga irukkaru, Mr. K.V. Mohan. Avaru da vanditu, when I in the platform ticket na pulliyar solli pota annila irundhe ellarkittayum poite, my niece is author nu solliட்டு irukkaru. In fact, எக்மோ அண்ணா நகர் ரயில்வே ஸ்டேஷனில் போயிட்டு எல்லாருக்கிட்டும் என் நீஸ் யார் தெரியுமா என்னமோ அப்படி பெருசாக பேசிட்டு வந்திருக்கிறாரு. அண்ட் புக்கு வந்ததுலேருந்து பயங்கர கேன்வாசிங் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு, மார்க்கெட்டிங் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு.
We need uncles like that.
Yes.
There is no doubt about
Yeah.
it. I owe a lot to my mama, so I can well understand.
Another mama is the one who brought Dr. Sangeetha into my life.
He married her.
Not this mama, the other mama. எங்க இருக்கிறாரு? அதோ that culprit is there.
How many words in a day do you write?
No, I am not at all a planned writer. எப்போ மூடு வந்தாலும் எழுதுவேன். Like, and the thing is, I always start any story on my phone because the phone is the most handiest thing. By the time you go log on to the laptop, அது சூடு பிடிக்கிறதுக்குள்ள நம்ம சூடெல்லாம் போயிடும். So I am always on the phone. Sometimes in the middle of the night also I get some ideas and start writing. 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, anytime I just take my phone and just write.
Do you write or do you type?
I type, of course I type.
Yeah.
Writing panna enake puriyala what I'm writing. Pen and paper. So I type and no, I mean I can just sit and even when my husband and mom are watching TV also I can sit and write. Nothing disturbs me. But I keep telling them நீங்க டிவி போட்ட பிறகு when I start writing I'm okay. நான் எழுத தொடங்கின பிறகு நீங்க டிவி போட்டீங்கன்னா எனக்கு கான்சன்ட்ரேஷன் போய்டும். Actually, in the book, the first 1 month of 18,000 words I wrote when I was in Qatar. He was at work, so I had all the free time and silence in the house. The other 6 weeks of writing, I wrote in my house in Mambakam. Amma was cooking and talking, husband was watching TV. I was blissfully writing 1.5 months of non-stop. I was writing like possessed. எழுதி முடிக்கிறதுக்கு கண்ணெல்லாம் வலிக்க தொடங்கிடுச்சு, அந்த மாதிரி எழுதினேன்.
When you don't write for a while and then you go back to typing, do you find that the letters get all jumbled up?
No. I don't know. I can always.
No, the reason why I ask all this is Mr. Muthaya, who is such a memory to all of us and who is a living.
I use only one finger for typing. Okay.
Yes, I used to. That is the two. We are all that generation where we didn't learn.
Typing.
The next generation automatically came with trained thumbs, if you know. They are able to do this. We are not. But Mr. Muthaya used to say that every day you have to type 500 words. If you don't type 500 words every day, your typing will show you that you've not been working because then your letter, I find that happens to me so often. So every day I religiously sit and type a few words.
No, we are typing so many on WhatsApp and Facebook.
No, when I use a laptop. I don't use the phone for writing. And when you, last question, so when you do the manuscript, do you go back and do a lot of edits or is it done?
Oh my God, my manuscript went around some 30 edits, I can say.
Really?
Like, that's what, 2023, before going to the pitch fest in Bangalore, November 30th, I completed the first draft. And I went and pitched la bayangara dhairama. I told, they asked me, have completed manuscript? I said, yes, completed. That time it was 64,000 words. And then after I came, I had to send them sample chapters and the manuscript. After that, I started editing. இப்போ கிட்டத்தட்ட இட்ஸ் லைக் மனப்படம் ஆயிடுச்சு, மகப் ஆயிடுச்சு. ஸோ அன்னைக்கு யாரோ ஒருத்தங்க ஏதோ ஒரு லைன் சொன்னாங்க, ஐ நோ விச் சாப்டர் இட் இஸ். அண்ட் த பெஸ்ட் திங் வாட் வென் ஐ ஆஸ்க் சம்படி எந்த சாப்டரில் இருக்கீங்கன்னா தே ஆர் பர்டிகுலர்லி டெல்லிங் ஐ ஆம் இன் திஸ் பிளாட்ஃபார்ம். ஸோ வெரி ஹாப்பி லைக் தட் பிளாட்ஃபார்ம் திங் இஸ் ஆல்சோ ஸ்டக். ஸோ
Great. So, such a wonderful experience talking to you.
Thank you so much.
It is like reading the book itself. And I now encourage everybody here to pick up their copies and read the book. And this is a book that you will not regret reading. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.